All right. Thank you for tuning in today with Unleash Independence. My name's Cameron. We have a very special guest today. We have Kyle from Armed Citizen Project. Kyle, I want to welcome you on. Thanks for spending some time and coming on and talking with us today.
Thanks for having me on, Cameron.
Absolutely. So, Kyle, let's get right into it. Tell me a little bit about what the Armed Citizen Project is.
Sure. So the Armed Citizen Project, we're a group, nonprofit that is interested in the relationship between firearm availability and crime rates. We're really interested in the deterrent effects that firearms have. Some folks that have done the work already. If you look at John Lott's book, More Guns, Less Crime, we're kind of continuing, expanding upon that a little bit. We're a group that is give right now we're training and arming single women in the Houston area. People that are vulnerable, kind of have a low sense of security in their own home. But coming up in April, we're going to pick an entire neighborhood of Houston, probably a 4 square block area, maybe bigger if we get more donations, and offer every resident that lives in that area, if they can pass a background check and we'll take our legal safety and tactical training course, we'll give them for free one single shot breakover 20 gauge shotgun.
So, how much hate mail have you gotten since you've launched this?
Quite a bit. Yeah. Well, there have been people that have gone through our website and have sent us some stuff, but mostly it's just little snide comments on the bottom of blogs wherever we're posted. Stuff that you can easily look over and not pay any attention to. I don't pay attention to them anyways because they're mainly just a bunch of people living in their mom's basement, eating cat food, doing that thing. So yeah,
I didn't know they ate cat food. That's interesting.
they do. Yeah, it's this whole thing.
Okay, so stick away from cat food then, and
Yeah.
you won't be living in your mom's basement.
Okay.
Okay, aside from that though, what about the positive response? I know you've got to receive quite a bit of that as well.
Oh yeah, the positive response has far outweighed the negative response, especially here in Houston. I mean, I'm in Texas. I'm in the thick of the gun support zone. So yeah, it's been overwhelmingly positive. I've had a lot of folks reach out to me that actually want to be a part of it. When we do our big study for the neighborhood, we're going to offer the weapons to everyone that lives in the neighborhood. But with the single women and everything, we're inviting folks to reach out to us if they've got a good story or if they've, got a low, a poor neighborhood type situation. We're inviting them to reach out to us. I've had a lot more like 35-year-old dudes send me emails asking for guns, and it's like, man, go buy a gun yourself. Like if you lived in one of those neighborhoods we're targeting, yeah, we'll give you one, but I'm not just mailing 20 gauges to anybody who wants one. We've actually had a few CHL holders who have said, hey, I have a handgun, but I'd like a shotgun for home defense. And it's like, dude, move along, go buy one. Why are you coming to me? So
So it's not a handout then. I mean, you're helping people. It's a case study, right? I mean, if you can talk about how it got started and really what this is all about.
yeah, sure. So I'm in my final semester of the public administration program, Master's of Public Administration at the University of Houston, and working on my capstone project, which is like a graduation thesis. I originally had this really cool kind of private-public partnership idea for a collaborative way to really reduce the cost of putting officers in schools, because right after Newtown, window of opportunity to actually implement some kind of free market funding mechanisms for that. And I live in Texas, and some people actually started down that road on their own, and so uh, it became obvious that, hey, other people are going to do this whether I do or not. So I started kind of thinking about what else I could do. I ended up visiting the home of a 93-year-old World War II vet, had two Purple Hearts, and his house had been broken into by a couple of teenage thugs. And it just, really made me mad. And that night, I kind of got to thinking, what can we do to prevent this from happening? People should be afraid that, hey, if I break into the wrong house, I could die in a hallway, and that's kind of where the idea hit me. And so with my capstone, I decided to write a white paper or policy proposal on what a private free market response to the public problem of crime would look like through increasing firearm availability in an area.
It's really interesting, and I'm glad to see. You know, I mean, it is the free market response. It is the ingenuity of the individual. You know, our broadcast, Unleash Independence, that's our whole goal is to increase an individual's independence. And so that's why I really gravitated to what you're doing. It seems like you are really pushing independence for women. I do have a quick question about what you're saying. So you have background checks for these people. You're not giving them to just anybody willy-nilly.
Sure.
And then also, so your training classes, can you tell us about that? Is that something you're conducting, or is it something done by, you know, local law enforcement, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's something we're conducting, but I took a CHL class a few months back, concealed handgun license, and at Top Gun Range here in Houston, and my instructor, absolutely phenomenal, holds about every certification you can think of when it comes to guns. Secret Service agent for 11 years. He actually had to testify during Lewinsky scandal. Like, he had the top assignments. So, like, has a ton of cool stories. And you know, right now he works for the Inspector General's office doing investigations on government employees. Awesome guy. His name's Dan Blackford. I highly recommend him for anyone in Houston who wants to take a CHL class. But he's conducting those trainings for us, and it's a legal, safety, and tactical. So we cover, you know, what are your rights and responsibilities as far as firearms go. You know, if you do have to use your firearm, what kind of CYA stuff do you need to do to make sure you're not going to get in trouble. And then our safety, you know, obviously. Proper storage, proper, having the gun around kids, and then tactical, how to use the weapon in case someone does ever have to, does ever get into a situation where someone breaks into their home. So we kind of hit all the bases and make sure that we're taking folks that don't have really any gun experience, and we're turning them into responsible gun owners.
It's really interesting hearing that. So I'm glad that there is a sense of responsibility and everything behind that. I think that that's the initial concern with a lot of people that hear this is, we are dealing with Newtown, we're dealing with Aurora, and what was it, senator or Congress lady that was shot in the South End.
Oh yeah, Gabby Giffords in Tucson.
Gabby Giffords. Yeah, we're dealing with this. Kind of comes in the wake of it. So I don't know if you can speak directly, for your group, or if you want to just talk about yourself. But do you believe? I mean, what is your hypothesis with this theory? Do you support gun actions, or what's your thought?
Well, first and foremost, my theory with this project is, I've been telling people my hypothesis is that criminals don't want to die in your hallway, and that we should use that fear in order to deter crime. And so, on a personal level, because my organization's focused on just arming folks and home protection and the effect of crime. But we're huge proponents of the Second Amendment. I mean, will not be infringed is pretty legally clear in my opinion. If so, yeah, we're absolutely pro Second Amendment. It's kind of funny because I've had a lot of folks I've had some criticism from the pro-gun side, where people have said, "Oh, this guy's probably a Brady supporter, in wolf in sheep's clothing because he's doing background checks. He's just giving out single shot 20 gauges." Well, we're doing background checks to cover our own butts. Plus, also, I don't know the people we're giving them out to. Like the whole universal background check. Well, if I'm giving a gun to my brother, I don't need to get the federal government involved in it. You know what I mean? Now, if FFL dealer's telling to somebody, yeah, that's a little more legitimate. But I certainly don't support. Personally, I certainly don't support universal background checks because it's only a matter of time before a registry may be implemented, and a universal background check system coupled with a registry is a recipe for confiscation or forced buyback. And then a lot of folks, the criticism also, oh, he's giving out single shot shotguns, just saying, that's all people need. No, I'm absolutely not. When people ask me if I recommend this weapon for home defense, no, I do not recommend this weapon for home defense. I recommend it more than having no gun. It's infinitely better than having no gun. But these single shot breakover 20s, I didn't even own one before I started this project. I've got an 870 pump behind my nightstand. On my nightstand, I've got my Sig 9. So the thing is, we're taking folks that don't have guns right now, and we're getting them trained on it. We're getting something in their hand, and hopefully, it'll start it'll get them interested in continuing down the path of responsible gun ownership. And who knows? They may go out and practice quite a bit and say, you know what, I want something a little more substantial to defend myself. I like this breakover 20, but I'd like a pump action, an 870 or a handgun. I'd like to be doing concealed carry. We certainly support that. It's just we're getting folks started, and to get them started, these things are cheap and easy to use. The cheaper a weapon is, the more of them we can get out there in the hands of responsible citizens. And so I've been dealing with criticism kind of from both sides.
And I say this jokingly because I don't think it'll ever happen. But on a very serious note, have you seen Joe Biden talking about what women should do or what people should do for home defense is to go and buy a shotgun? Have you seen this or heard about this?
Yeah, we actually wrote, the day after he said that, we actually wrote up a big thank you blog post for his tacit endorsement. And it's actually served to deflect quite a bit of criticism when people criticize us, like, hey man, we're just doing what old Joe says, getting shotguns to folks, but
exactly. So he's going to come out and support you, right? He should be at your next rally or something like that. I mean, he should be helping you, right?
You would think. I'm not that tied in politically, so I can't really call in that favor. But if he picks up on us and wants to do it, that's fine. We'll take all the support we can get.
Sure. I don't know. Maybe it's worth just leaving it alone. I think maybe.
Probably. Yeah.
But so how long is this project going to go on for? I mean, you're collecting data. You're going to be researching this. How long is this process?
Sure. So with the arming single women, that's going to be going on forever. We're going to just continually do that. That's something that we started kind of to pass the time before we're able to do the big study, but we found that's something that we're passionate about. Women feel a lot more vulnerable, especially single women living in mid to high crime areas like apartment complexes by themselves. Those are exactly the kind of people we want to put guns in the hands of. The project, the first neighborhood that we're doing, we're going to get going in April. Hopefully give out 100 guns in that neighborhood. And then it'll take a year to get the results back, and then probably another month or two to actually analyze those results. The thing is, the Armed Citizen Project is here to stay. We're filing our 501c3 paperwork right now, which anyone who's ever filed paperwork with the federal government, if you're doing it, you're probably in it for the long run, because it's a pain in the ass. So we're
especially when it's a tax exempt and so they'll be
they want their taxes. So
exactly.
We're looking at expanding into other cities, and we're gonna come onto the scene as a full-blown national nonprofit. We want to do this for the long run. Obviously, as far as the study goes, the bigger sample size we have, the more valid our study is going to be. And so also,
that's great. So how do people get? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, also, we're having a blast giving out guns to folks. So just for fun too.
Literally, I'm sure it is quite a blast.
Yeah, there you go.
No.
Nice.
So how do people get involved? After reading everything that you've been doing and everything like that, I'm interested. How do I, if there's someone that wants to get their area going?
Sure.
At what point are you going to feel confident enough to branch out into other states and other areas? And how can people help right now?
Right. So we're looking at branching out probably right around April, when we arm our first neighborhood, because we have to have something to do after that. And so folks can contact us or donate to us at armedcitizenproject.org. We're looking for people that are helping us out right now as far as our social media strategy and stuff like that. We're kind of feeling them out, communicating with these folks, and right now we're building the infrastructure for what's going to be our nationwide support system. So if someone wants to volunteer with us and help push us in social media, and that's willing to, call local talk radio programs where they are and do that kind of thing, that's obviously going to be the first step towards putting them in a position to kind of head up efforts in their own area, because we will need a liaison wherever we go. We'll need a person heading up the efforts in that city, and so our volunteer efforts and social media efforts is kind of helping us pick and choose, who we're going to use.
Absolutely. So, are you worried about anything with legislation coming down the pipeline that might halter, transference of guns or shotguns or anything like that? And then also, the second question is, what about the price? Have you noticed, an increase with your what is it, over 20 shotgun?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they're a little more expensive than they were, not too long ago. Like I said, though, for the project, this is the first time I've ever actually bought one, but I've noticed the prices before. The cheapest that I can actually get one in a store for right now is for about $130. You can get a Breakover 20 at Gander Mountain. It's a Rossi. So that's what we'll be arming folks with our next class coming up. But I'd like to switch back to something American-made. The Rossi's made by Taurus, which is made in Brazil. And I just think it'd send a good message if we switched over to New England firearms or an H&R. Plus, I kind of like the H&Rs a little bit more too. So we haven't really figured out what's gonna be our exclusive firearm moving forward, but certainly open to hearing from manufacturers if someone's willing to give us an exclusive deal and cut us a good deal. But and the good thing about these about these 20s also is the ammo shortage is not happening with 20 gauge shotguns. People aren't falling over each other in sporting goods stores to scoop up boxes of 20 gauge shells. So those are always going to be around.
Oh, legislation. That's what I was going to ask.
Oh yeah.
Anything that's coming down?
Obviously I'm concerned with all the legislation coming out. There's not really anything that's going to affect us, I wouldn't think. Single shot Breakover 20 gauge, that's as basic a gun as you can get. Anything that would come down against a single shot 20 gauge is so blatantly anti-Second Amendment that I don't think there's a circuit court in America that wouldn't laugh at that on its face. I don't think there's a legislature in the United States that would be willing to pass such a ban. But as a gun owner and as a Second Amendment supporter, of course I'm concerned about Dianne Feinstein's efforts in the Senate and everything that if you look at the state of Colorado, what they're trying to do right now, or what New York State just did, there's an assault on the Second Amendment right now, and folks like us, we need to stand up and we need to be able to legislatively fight this bureaucracy and it's a rough time. We're at war as far as legislative efforts go. There's sights set on the Second Amendment right now.
Yeah, true statement right there. So, all right, well, thanks for joining us today. The website is armedcitizenproject.org. Facebook, how do they find you on Facebook?
Just Armed Citizen Project. We're also on Twitter at ArmedCZN Project. One other thing, we are accepting firearm donations as well. We liquidate those, turn them into 20s, Breakover 20s. So yeah, however people want to contribute. If you want to donate money or a gun, or if you just want to get involved in our social media strategy, we're reaching out to as many people as possible, trying to raise awareness as to our cause, and we're having a great time doing it.
Great. Well, thank you again for joining us. Thank you for providing a free market solution to this, and for the information that's going to come out just to solidify that more guns equals more freedom and less violence. So, Kyle Coplen, Armed Citizens Project. Thank you again. We'll be pushing you as much as we can.
Thanks a lot, Cameron.
UnleashIndependence.com